All right. Dirty Sports episode 806. We are live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon, Joe. And we're going to just bring our good buddy right onto the show, the one and only Randy Ruther.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Now, Randy, is Randy dead? Is Randy retired? Are you still Randy? How does this work?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, honestly. I forgot to make it Randy again. I don't think Randy ever dies anymore, man. I remember telling you if the Bengals win one playoff game, I'm going to retire Randy Ruther when I come on for the first time. But I'll be honest, man, I love the dirtball community. And it's just funny, earlier this year, I don't know. I just started this account and just watching it take off amongst the community and getting to meet so many of the cool dirtballs through all this. I told them all last night, you guys have made this journey fun. And, I was going to make a Joe Drano and argue with you about something but I mean, we're both LeBron stans, so I can't make one. And, but it was I had a thing with Andy to argue about. So it was fun to make. And now that's my, I don't even check my regular Twitter account. I only get on there. I respond to Bengals chat now, from Randy Ruther. Not even dirtball, just Bengals chat in general. So,
which is great because it's still my face. That's why
that's what makes a mustache.
No, that makes it great. Well, look, man, like I said before we went live, you got the pool, the hot tub, the bright sun from Phoenix. It's not a bad way to relax after a very hard fought, tough Super Bowl loss.
Absolutely.
And Joe, I can't obviously I know a lot of dirtballs are really excited. I'm excited. Joe is currently at Mr. Miyagi's dojo.
That's right.
Season 5 from Cobra Kai. If you're watching on YouTube, you were at the game. I can't wait to hear your opinion, being there versus myself and Randy Ruther, who had to watch it on TV. So, I mean, where do we even start? What a game.
What a game.
Yeah, it was what an incredible, for a guy who had tickets to the game, who's going the whole time. And I've said this since the last 2 weeks, since this matchup was set. I was like, this is a win-win. This is a likable Super Bowl. I know there are people out there who hate LA, and I know there are people out there who hate, this fan base and this team for having been stolen from St. Louis or whatever. And then, Cincinnati sort of became everybody's favorite underdog. But for me, and I think for a lot of people, it was definitely a win-win kind of Super Bowl. So really, I went into it rooting for a good game. I was like, I just want to see a good football game. I don't want to go in and have the most exciting thing be the halftime show or whatever. So right. We got it. We got a good Super Bowl. We got a back and forth game. We had, everybody it kind of played out exactly as I thought it would play out, to be totally honest with you. And I mean, I said a Rams win, a Bengals cover, an under, a big Aaron Donald game, a good performances by both quarterbacks. It was an awesome game to be at. I'm so excited that, there have been some stinker Super Bowls over the course of 56 years. Was it the single greatest Super Bowl ever? Obviously not, but as I was calling it baby's first Super Bowl all day, and I absolutely fucking loved it. What a great game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you just said. From start to finish, it was exciting. There was exciting moments. There's questionable calls. There was not just questionable calls from the refs. I would say questionable calls from both coaches. Guys made plays who had to make plays, guys who made plays that we were expecting to make plays. And in the end of the day, I'll say just the Rams made maybe a couple more plays. And, there's a lot of takeaways for both teams. But the big one, and that obviously everybody's talking about, and I'm sure Justin wants to talk about, is like, at this point, you just it's not even a matter of protecting Burrow. Like, this is the most urgent, don't mess around. This window is so short. And I want to reiterate that. This isn't me being negative. This is just true. Like, the window is so short. He's got 2 more years on his rookie deal. The window is so short and they are so good. Like, Burrow is so fucking good. He is so good. Like, he got even more respect from me after last night. I mean, when they showed his face after that hit and the pain, I mean, Justin, what's going through your head when you see that? I literally was like, no, because nobody wants to see an injury. It's like,
No.
The fact that he went back out there, how tough is he?
Oh my God. Because I even said, I was like, here comes Brandon Allen. I was like, Brandon Allen is about to come in. Like, are you kidding? And correct me if I'm wrong, we're still up by 4 at that time, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And I was just like, I'm trying to figure out how Burrow is going to hold on to this lead for us. And then I'm like, Brandon Allen, like, what? No. And I mean, it was just a flashback to last year. And it's finally, I mean, that play right there, I was telling you before we start, like, that's going to tell me this is the same old Bengals. Like, old Bengals, I like where we're at. No need to fix anything. We're a Super Bowl team. Like, they have to address this line. They have to pay Bates and get this line taken care of. And I think you see them back. I mean, they're going to be competing for the AFC. If they can just do something with that line, I like their chances.
Look, I think they have a great team. That's my thing. I just, the cautionary tale is about them being back. Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl his second year, never sniffed one again. Like it is tough.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. Like I was reading a lot of tweets, and it's like people forget, even let's take Tom Brady. Tom Brady went through a 9-year period where he didn't win a single one. Think about that. I forgot that. Like, because he's won 7, he went through a 9-year period where he didn't win one. So this notion that, he's going to be right back.
I mean, even think about Elway. Elway getting to a bunch of Super Bowls, then not sniffing one for basically the entirety of his career. Then he gets it. If he doesn't get the 2 at the end, he's known as like a guy who plays 20 years and, just as a Super Bowl loser. Yeah, it's tough. Dude, the league on both sides is so competitive. Obviously, the AFC a little bit more top heavy, but the bottom line is you have to be excited if you're a Bengals fan. Like, you almost, the AFC North is tough, and I also get that the Bengals, with all the talent they have, still have to overcome ownership issues and not wanting to pay certain guys to stay, overthinking things, underthinking things, not having enough scouts. Like, being in Cincinnati, to be totally honest with you, like, it's Cincinnati. They're, when you go to the Super Bowl and you are on the world stage and everybody sees you, people are going to be coming for some of these guys now. And do you want to stay in Cincinnati or do you not want to? So it's for sure. But I mean, I think we've seen in the last few years, the whole quarterback on the rookie deal with the money that goes with it. I mean, Matthew Stafford was the ultimate pickup. McVay went all in. They got Stafford, but they're not going to be the same team next year because you can't pay all these guys. And so the Rams are going to change a lot more than the Bengals will going forward. And that's the thing. I think the Rams knew getting to a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl is hard. Nothing is guaranteed. Let's go out and get a guy who can win one, and we'll worry about what happens after that. So I think these teams are on opposite ends of that spectrum and are both going to have to handle it in completely different ways. But for sure, the Bengals move is make sure Burrow's healthy. When he is healthy, protect him and try to go out and get back there in the next couple of years before you deservingly have to give the guy, $400 million or whatever.
Yeah. And
that's, go ahead. That's the thing I will give Mike Brown. He takes care of the quarterbacks. Like, he gets quarterback. He was a quarterback. So if you look at Cincinnati's quarterbacks, everyone's like, talk shit about the quarterback position at Cincinnati. They get paid. I mean, he makes sure that, and that's why we haven't had that big of a turnover in quarterbacks. Like, Palmer was there for a while. Then it was Dalton, and now it's Burrow. But Burrow's the one that's talented enough that people are going to want him. Like Dalton was, second or third tier quarterback, and he got paid. But the thing is now you have a quarterback that is going to be wanted by other teams and knows his value. I think that Dalton, for some reason, just took money, took what he could get. But I don't know. They got to protect Burrow, because Burrow can be that guy that's like, hey, I'll leave.
But at what point, from Joe Burrow's perspective, I mean, it's already now or never, in my opinion. And
right.
I don't know if you guys saw what Carson Palmer said, and he talked, so much flack from Bengals fans, because Bengals fans are so bitter at him, which to be honest, I think a lot of it's bullshit. How everything played out with him and Mike Brown. But basically what Carson Palmer said was, dude, you have to address this now, or it is. It's the same situation. Like, do you care about winning? I mean, you can't understate. So he was sacked 19 times in the playoffs, which is the most ever.
Yeah.
In the last 20 years, do you guys know who's been sacked the second most in the last 20 years? The number. It's 12. Like that gap of sack 19 times and the second most in the last 20 years is 12. Like, that gap is so ridiculous. And I will say this. When I watch those games, Burrow is never faced. Like, in my opinion, like, he has that eye of like, I don't give a fuck. To be honest, I'm obviously a Brady guy. I think the only other guy I've seen that with is Brady, where it's just, or Montana, where it's just like, they're not phased. The first time I ever saw that look on his face, where
I'd even argue, dude, Burrow, you sacked Burrow 7 times, you sacked Burrow 6 times. Those games where teams beat Brady is because they got to him 4 or 5 times, and he did look kind of spooked.
Yeah.
That was kind of how you beat Tom Brady, is you get him a little off his spot. Joe Burrow's not doing that. To some degree, you could say there's part of this whole thing that's on Joe Burrow a little bit, because maybe he hangs in too long, maybe he takes hits he shouldn't be taking, maybe he whatever. But at the same time, we know that their offensive line is not good.
But what I was going to say, after that one hit where he screamed in pain, that's the first time I saw him on that sideline. Just his face looked different to me. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but that was the first time I did see him spooked, like almost like, fuck. Aaron Donald, because we all know Tennessee destroyed him, but they don't have anybody on Tennessee's defense like an Aaron Donald. I just feel an Aaron Donald.
And Aaron Donald, like, there's nobody on anybody's defense like an Aaron Donald.
Which go ahead.
The kicker to me of it all is the first half. At halftime, I was telling like people on text, like, dude, our line's not playing too bad. Our line's not playing, like, the first half they were fine.
They played great.
The second half, it was just like, maybe they gassed out in the first half. They gave it all they had, or maybe they got lean. I don't know, but I loved our chances at halftime if the line was going to keep playing like that.
They played great in the first half. I believe he was only sacked 1 time. Overall in the game, I mean, this is wild. Burrow was pressured on 43% of his dropbacks. In the third quarter of his 12 dropbacks, he was sacked on 5. Yeah. Dude, he's getting sacked almost every other time he drops. Like, you can't do that. And here's some wild things. Joe just mentioned Aaron Donald. I want people to appreciate how great he is. Arguably up there with the all-time greatest defensive players of all time. So he's the only player in the Super Bowl era with 7 straight first-team All-Pro selections, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Super Bowl champ. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. And here's another one. After last night's game, the only other player to achieve these things is Lawrence Taylor, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, multiple times, Defensive Player of the Year multiple times, 5-time All-Pro and Super Bowl champ. Him and Lawrence Taylor are the only players in NFL history to achieve that. This is the level that Aaron Donald is an absolute all-time great. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he, if you put together an all-time NFL team, he's a starting tackle.
Hands down. And he might retire.
Which I didn't understand. Was that talked about beforehand? It seemed like it came out after the fact. Everybody was like, if this is his last game, I was like, why? Aaron Donald's dominating the NFL. Why are we talking about his retirement?
And he's only been around since 2014.
Yeah. Is this something that he hinted at? Like, why is this?
Yeah. And when asked, so of course I went straight to the NFL Network when the game ended, and they brought everybody on, right? They were just taking turns bringing on guys. And they asked him, and he seemed pretty candid with the NFL Network crew. He said, I'm thinking, I'm not going to worry about it tonight, but he didn't give a, no, I'm not retiring. He just gave I'm not thinking about it tonight. I want to celebrate this victory. Whereas Sean McVay, they asked him the same question. Is this it for you? He said, I'll be back next year. And after that, then we'll see.
And why Sean McVay? Why would Sean McVay at all? I mean, at least with Aaron Donald, you're like, okay, he's playing in the NFL is really hard.
He wants to go into broadcasting.
Who? McVay?
So McVay's thing, I don't know how much you followed it last week. McVay is on record now saying he's getting married this summer, which has been pushed back 2 years because of COVID. I want to have a family. I've seen how, we all know these guys have no lives. He's like, I have no life. It's all coaching. I saw it with my dad, my grandfather, he's like, I don't want that. So he's being honest. And they say he's basically going to try to maybe follow the Gruden trajectory, hopefully minus the emails, where you win a chip, you coach, and then you go into TV. And obviously he's a good looking, smart
young
guy. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So this Rams team, I just thought that the concept was, win now because we have a bunch of these pieces and we're a couple pieces away, and let's go get one. We made it there. We know it's hard to get back, but it seems like at least a little bit, maybe some of the underlying reasons behind that is a couple of the major key players involved and coaches and key cogs in the machine are maybe not here for that long. So
correct. And obviously we saw the tough injury to Odell as well, who was having a great game. And I hate to say
having a great game now. Yeah. Okay.
It's almost like the Ruther curse. Like,
you said it last episode. You're like, well, now I'm rooting for him. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Now the Ruther curse is inside the cartilage in Odell's knee. Now we need to talk. First of all, I won money on Odell first touchdown. I won money on Odell first touchdown plus a Rams win. I was super excited. Everybody, despite previous discussions about my lack of OBJ merch and how okay or not okay that would be to rock, I didn't do it. A lot of people in my box had Odell props, so we were all on Odell. He goes out, scores a first touchdown, great catch, has a huge catch. And it's looking like, I saw somebody say today, and I almost agree with it. If Odell plays that whole game, I'm not sure it is that close. They had no answer for him out of the gate. I know it's 2 balls, but 2 balls, a long-ish touchdown, and then a long catch and run. Now, Andy, I've given you plenty of shit about your Odell takes in the past. I've given you plenty of shit that he has come to the Rams and, fit in and done well. But we need to revisit something, because in looking up, trying to find my own Odell thing, I came across the original, one of the original tweets about Odell post Rams, which is I just tweeted after the Browns got their ass kicked by the New England Patriots, which wide receiver is solely responsible for today's Cleveland getting blown out. And you replied first with, Jesus Christ, you're a flat earther. And then you came with the Browns, the Browns 14-15 record with Odell, and their 8-5 record or whatever without Odell. Odell leaves. They go 2-6 down the stretch. They now have also a 1 game under 500 record without Odell, as they did with Odell. 10-11 without Odell. 14-15 with Odell. So Cleveland gonna Cleveland, regardless of who the fuck's playing there. Odell goes, I don't know what the win-loss for the Rams, but obviously 4 straight, including a Super Bowl victory. I was called a flat. Is the earth flat, Andy? Are we living on a flat earth?
Well, look, I'll say this. Obviously, I was wrong about Odell in LA. I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong. It worked out. I was just wrong. And he played well. and he came up clutch when they needed him. And I think that I might tend to agree with you when you say if he plays. I mean, that injury was so dramatic to their offense and what they were doing. I even said, I texted my brother. I said, dude, I don't know how the Rams score now. I was like Ben Skoranek. I mean, he dropped the first pass that the Bengals picked off of the second half, the first pass that the Rams had in the second half. I was like, who is the answer now with Odell out of the game, which we'll talk about more, but to me shows you how great Cooper Kupp and that Matthew Stafford in that final drive is amazing, because they didn't have a number two. No, it worked out.
And even on that play where Odell got hurt, I mean, he was wide open. He won that route. He had it. Yeah. He had room to run. The only reason he didn't catch that ball is he goes down and clutches at his knee. I mean, he was dominating his guy at the line of scrimmage.
But let's not forget, I've been critical of Odell mostly though, and I'm not putting this on him, but I said he's injury prone. Whether that's on the turf, I don't know. You were at the game. There was a lot of players complaining about the turf. I don't know if either of you guys saw that.
I saw that. And here's my thing with the turf in general. I get the turf. I get the necessity for turf at some point. It's in some sense in the NFL. But Justin lives in the shadow of a stadium there where they roll the fucking field out and they roll it back in and they play on grass inside. The technology's there. SoFi, so fucking nice. Why aren't you doing something like that? If the technology's there and you have I mean, I understand there's two teams in that stadium, so you're getting double the use and blah, blah, blah. But like the technology's there now, even if you want to play inside, if you're in a warm weather climate, you can have grass. It's insane. There was the weekend where it was Cincinnati, or the game was in Kansas City. It was 4 games and they were all on grass. I think it was, wild card or divisional round weekend. And it was like, this is the way football is supposed to be played. Let's just play it on fucking grass. The idea of these guys, a guy like Odell, and I saw the only 2 things Nick Wright and I agree on in life are Odell Beckham Jr. and LeBron James. Everything else, and maybe Tom Brady's slightly overrated, but everything else I couldn't really disagree more with the guy on. But he said, dude, the thing about Odell is he's exciting, he's great when he's healthy, and his teammates love him. At this point, if you don't like Odell, you're kind of telling on yourself that it's about something else. It's about something with you.
So he tore his ACL, correct?
Correct.
Is that the same one he tore with the Browns?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So now his future's really, I'd assume, up in the air, which sucks, which you hate to see. And you hate to see, and that was my same feeling when Burrow got hit and screamed in pain. It's like, dude, you hate to see guys who are so important to this game get hurt or get lit up.
Yesterday was like a true statement of being a human being or a football fan when I saw Odell go down, because I was like, I can't be happy about this, but the Bengals aren't stopping him. But like, just being a human being outweighs the fandom. Like,
you're kind of okay. You're like, hopefully he's down but not out. Give us a couple quarters off of him and then get him back here.
A couple plays. Like,
I gotta say that your boy T. Higgins, 2 scores, but he has to drop that fucking one in the end zone that could have tied the game. I had Odell first touchdown, T. Higgins second touchdown, 75-1. T. Higgins, you're gonna face mask a guy late in the game. You're gonna catch whatever your face mask.
He was held.
You can't catch that first one.
It's kind of hard when Ramsey's holding him.
Oh, see here it is. See, Justin wants to pull some of the ref stuff. This is what I'm gonna say about the refs. They made some bad calls for sure. There was a blatant face mask on Jalen Ramsey. I mean, he turned his head around and he flew to the ground. I mean, it was so bad. How many times did Collinsworth go back to that? Collinsworth, the former Bengal. How many times did?
No, it was a horrible no call. As someone that I won money, I had T. Higgins 2 touchdowns last night. Called it, but no, that should have been flagged right there. Like, that's horrible call.
And that's the first play of the second half. And then obviously the Logan Wilson holding call at the end is very controversial as well. I'll say this. I don't think, you said you went on a rabbit hole. I'm sure it's all pro Bengals fans.
Oh, 100%.
I'll say this. They made some bad calls. For the most part, they let them play. I think at the end of the day, I would argue the calls evened out. They were shitty on both sides. But you're saying from your Bengals fandom deep dive, it's not true.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course I'm going to say that. I haven't seen as many, but like I said, my Randy Ruther account is all Bengals stuff. So, of course, I'm seeing some offsides on that same play that got Logan Wilson. I'm seeing, Aaron Donald lined up offsides the very last play of the game where he gets the quarterback. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Our offensive line cost us that game. That's all. I'm not even going to say. I won't put it on the refs. There were some missed calls, and like you said, you could probably go through LA Rams timelines and see the exact opposite. So I agree with you. It's just infuriating to see the day after. You're like, I wake up like, I think I'm over it. Good job. My team's in the Super Bowl. And then you see that. And, me and you talked before we came on. I was like, you're right. Like, you 100%, you could go back and see both bad plays on both sides. So and if I'm being on it, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
It's not really about the refs or anything. It's about Donald. I thought he deserved MVP, but I wasn't mad because I also thought Cooper Kupp deserved regular season MVP.
Kupp got
and
the
so
MVP.
I was happy. Yeah, so I was happy he got it because I thought he deserved. And the Rams are one of those teams they won, and I couldn't be mad. I was like, I actually kind of like this team. Like they're not hateable.
I'll say this, and I'm curious to hear what Joe says. Like the Cooper Kupp thing, and they said it on the air, right? They said they're not getting anything without, like, they couldn't run the ball. They rushed the ball. They averaged, the fact that they won the game with that, they averaged 1.9 yards a rush, which I have problems with McVay's play calling in that. I think he just kept running the ball. It's just not working. The Bengals are stuffing you every time. I know you're short Odell. I know you're not running the ball, but you've got to find a way to just force it. And they did. And they forced Kupp. And I think he had 4 catches for 36 or 39 yards in the final drive. And just how clutch he was.
Yeah. I think it was that Stafford was like perfect to him on the final drive and otherwise like couldn't complete a pass.
I think you're right. And at the end of the day, man, Collinsworth kept saying it, and I'll be curious what Joe thinks, or either of you guys. He's like, to me, this is a historic NFL drive that Matthew Stafford, like he's short guys. He can't run the ball. Like, to me, what you do to do that drive to take the lead is an all-time NFL drive in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Honestly, at this point, the Matthew Stafford thing is like, I almost feel bad. Like, I agree with Justin. I had money on it, so it would have been nice. I went heavy on Aaron Donald MVP, but then they give it to Kupp, who had such a great season and such a great season between the regular season and the playoffs. He's got over 400 and change more yards than anyone else over the course of a regular season and postseason combined. Like, it's the best start to finish at week 1 through the Super Bowl season a receiver's ever had. And so, him coming up big on that last drive, him with the jet sweeps, he had so many big plays in the game. But Matthew Stafford almost at this point is still remaining underrated. I mean, the dude is out there balling in the Super Bowl. And like, I got to shout out, I know he's his backup in Detroit, and so the guys like ride or die Stafford, stand the whole time. But Orlovsky's been on it. Orlovsky's been saying, dude's been doing this for 12 years. If other guys were making these no-look passes to spots around defenders that they're moving with their eyes in the Super Bowl, we would be watching that Patrick Mahomes highlight 400 times today. And you've got to go deep onto the interwebs for the Matthew Stafford no-look game-winning drive. I mean, the dude came in. He's exactly what, McVay bargained for. He's like, we're a quarterback away. Let's go get one of the best ones in the league. Let's go get an underrated, undervalued guy. And the dude delivered. I mean, you know, we're talking about Burrow. The time is now, and Burrow's second year in the league. I know Cincinnati is a dumpster fire of an organization for a long time, but they're not the Browns. They're not the Jets. They're not the Lions. They've had playoff teams. They've had they have had winning seasons. You know, almost as impressive as Joe Burrow, Super Bowl second year. Matthew Stafford wins the Super Bowl. He just goes, let me out of this cage that is Detroit, and I will win a Super Bowl. And he was fucking right. Shout out to the Dirty Sports Podcast for being on the free Matthew Stafford campaign for like the 4 final years he was in Detroit. The guy gets out. He puts this team on his back to start the year. Cooper Kupp, again, such an incredible season, but like he didn't have 2,000-yard seasons with Jared Goff. Like, there's no Montana without Rice.
And to hop on that,
Rice without Montana.
Those 2 picks were not those 2 picks.
Nope.
There's difference between good and bad picks. The one pick was a deep pass, which was basically a punt on 3rd and long. So, and I said that when it happened, like, oh, that's not a bad pick because now the Bengals have the ball at the 10 or the 20. They got it to the 10 because a guy ran. I was like, is that somebody's cousin who just ran onto the field? Like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, which was making me laugh. And then his other pick was a drop by Ben Skoranek, which is always funny to say for some reason to me. But yeah, he played a great game. That drive. I'll be honest, I'm shocked. I thought there's just no way they can score the ball.
And he showed grit. He had a bad fall. That leg went in an angle legs aren't supposed to be going in. And I didn't know if he was coming back in for a little bit, but I mean, he showed grit last night too. Like, dude, I like that Rams team. They're a fun team to watch. Hats off to them. Like if it was the Chiefs, I would have wanted they were playing the Rams. I would have cheered for the Rams. Like I wholeheartedly like that team. But
now, what was the atmosphere like at the game, Joe? I'd love to hear some of your takes as someone who was in the game, viewing the crowd.
I've never experienced anything like this from like going to Super Bowls unlike any other thing I've ever been doing in sports. It was, I don't know, it was a level of sports. It was a letter of like pomp and circumstance, like greater than anything. I've been to a national championship college game. I've been to World Series games. I've been to NBA Finals games. I've been to NHL final games. There is nothing like a Super Bowl. Holy shit. I mean, first of all, SoFi, perfect. There's so much grounds around SoFi. So we get there. We're like ushered through a whole area. The tailgate scene was bananas. We're like in a tent. You know, it was almost like classes of people. It's like this is VIP, and then inside the VIP, there's more VIP. It's like being at a club. And then I happen to be in the bottle service of all bottle services area. It was pretty fucking amazing. And then they, take us over to the game. We go in. I get into our box hour pregame. Like I'm there a while. And at first, because I was drinking in the car on the way there, I'm drinking at the tailgate. I'm kind of, I'm a little tipsy, like before even getting into SoFi. So I get in there, and at first I'm like, man, food, booze, let's go, Super Bowl. And there's so many people in there, not just in the crowd, but on the field. There's so much happening that you would have thought this game is seconds from kickoff. And I look, and there's a countdown clock, and it's at like 75 minutes. I'm like, bro, this is more crowded than like an LA Dodgers game is in the 4th inning. Like it was a scene. And then, honestly, SoFi was loud yesterday from both standpoints. Like there was Bengals fans probably outnumbered. I would say true Bengals fans outnumbered true Rams fans there by a good margin. But I would say that the majority of the people that seemed like they were there in a corporate fashion or, like I was with an entire group of people that root, life and death for a football team not playing in this game. And it seemed like a lot of those people were like kind of jumping on the Rams are the home team, not the home team, but like we're in LA. It's their same. Seemed like a lot of LA business types. If you live in LA, you're like, oh, it's an LA team, so I guess I'm rooting for them now.
Right.
So I found it to be loud. Like no matter who had a big moment in the game, both sides were super loud for them. My buddy pointed out that he noticed during the Chargers-Giants game that we went to that they pump in crowd noise. I didn't notice that, but then I did notice it yesterday. I was like, okay, there's definitely some fabricated sound in here. But all in all, it was bananas. It's like I said that in my live a couple times. I was like, this is bananas in here right now from every aspect, the rock and the flag and the flyovers and the halftime show and the, just like confetti at the end, like everything about the Super Bowl is like, it's sports on steroids. It's one of the best sports experiences I've ever had.
Now, would your camera have enough storage on it for all the cut cams at that game?
So crazily enough, I essentially saw no one like outside of my seat view. Like I was ushered from a black cart to a tailgate, from a tailgate to a golf cart, from a golf cart to my suite to I did not mingle with the common man yesterday. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. Like I put out the tweet every year. Don't be the guy who wears the jersey of a team not playing to your Super Bowl party. Like it's ultimate loser mentality. So yeah, you saw plenty of non-jerseys, but I'm sure it would have been disturbing if I had actually had to mingle with the common folk yesterday.
Peasants.
I know, the peasants.
Well, let's get, we haven't heard from the Dirtballs yet. Let's get to a call. We kind of talked about this earlier, but let's kind of talk a little more. Let's get to a call from a Dirtball as far as Burrow and the Bengals' future.
What's up, Dirty Sports? Super Bowl just ended here, Bengals Rams, and I had a quick question for you guys. What are the odds you guys set that Burrow makes it back to another Super Bowl? And after every Super Bowl that happens, the team that loses is like, oh, they'll make it back. Oh, they'll be back. That doesn't always happen. I mean, guys like Rodgers, Russ, Big Ben, they have not been in the Super Bowl in a long time. So if you had set like a percent chance that Burrow makes it back to a Super Bowl in his career, what would you say to that? I'm saying like 30%. That's my line. Let me know what you guys think. Stay dirty.
I personally, I think that's a good line, 25 to 30%. I mean, like I said, Marino never made it back. You mentioned Elway. Here's a crazy stat, though, just as far as teams in general. The losing team most recently made it back with the Patriots losing to the Eagles and then beating the Falcons. Before that, it had been the 1990. It had been 18 years. So there was like an 18-year gap with the Bills, and the point was
you're saying making it back the next year,
and we'll just start there as far as the losing team. So like it's really hard, and as we all know, it's just so hard. And the Bengals now have a first place schedule, and that doesn't mean that they can't get back, but it's just I like the 25 to 30% range. I just think. I'm sure you're going to be optimistic here, Justin. I just think I've seen 31 years of the Brown family. Maybe Mike Brown dies tomorrow and they change things. But in my opinion, they knew this was a problem going into the season. They really didn't address it. And the Jamar Chase versus Penei Sewell discussion to me is like, Jamar Chase got the Bengals to the Super Bowl. I will not deny that. Now, the question is he going to be protected enough to have a career? At this point, it's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'd love to hear what you guys think as far as his percent.
I'm going to go a little bit higher, but I'm not going to. I think going 50-50 is being very optimistic. If you look at quarterbacks, I'm kind of looking at it this way. I'm taking the Cincinnati factor out of it, which, should be a factor, but I'm taking it out and I'm saying, let's just look at all-time great quarterbacks. Is Joe Burrow there yet? No, of course not. But he's off to a nice start. And if you look at great quarterbacks, if you look at the Rodgers and the Elways, the Mannings, the Montanas, those guys who are, I don't know, top 10, top 15 QBs of all time, how many of them made a Super Bowl and never made it back? How many of them never made a Super Bowl in the first place? I mean, we got Rodgers in one Super Bowl appearance. We got Matt Ryan, who's had a Hall of Fame career in one Super Bowl appearance. We've got Phillip Rivers with no Super Bowl appearances. I'm talking that now we're just talking like the last 15 years or so, like 50-50 to me is too much, but I do consider Joe Burrow having the ability and having a start where he will be mentioned, in a class with all-time greats like that. So I'm going better than 30%, but I'm calling it 40%, 40 to 45%. I think he's got he's been to 1 in 2 seasons. If he plays 15, like the idea that he doesn't get back once seems crazy, but you can't say it's 50-50. So I'm going 45%.
Now, as a Bengals fan, I have to say 50-50. And I think, as a football fan, Joe, you're absolutely right around that number, but I'm Randy Ruther. I got to say 90%. Are you kidding me? But
so Justin Woods in for 50%. Randy's in for 100% guarantee. He's back, and I got money on it. Randy.
I'm putting it down tomorrow. No, I like their chances. I think the Bengals are the Chiefs' kryptonite. They've beat them twice this season. But I'll tell you the one thing that scares me as an AFC somebody. I think Burrow can get there again in the AFC. I want to see him against the Bills. I don't think we got to see that matchup. I think that says a lot. And honestly, if Rodgers goes to Nashville, that scares me. Oh man, I got 10% battery left.
All right, we can wrap this up. Randy Ruther, as far as you being on.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I do like their chances. I think the one thing that scares me is I don't think Cincinnati is a good destination for people. I don't think besides Gronk, there's any free agents that are saying anything about Cincinnati. But I mean, if they can get that line addressed, I think that they have a good shot at being back. I'd say around 47-50 is where I'm at with it.
But don't you think? I know you said the Gronk thing. Don't you think Joe Burrow? It doesn't it's just a Midwest city. It's nothing special. I like it. Obviously, I'm from here. But I think there's something valid to what Gronk said that other players might feel.
Yeah.
As far as Joe Burrow, dude, he's that guy. There's no denying.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is that guy. We all know he was good, but what he did this season, look, I said it all along, and I was wrong. I took all my bets because I'm saying no one has beaten. You talk about the Andy Ruther curse. The Mike Brown curse was even greater. No one had beaten the Mike Brown curse. And all my bets that I lost, which was way too many, I said this basically boils down to, can Joe Burrow overcome the curse of Mike Brown? And he did. And he didn't only overcome it, he destroyed it. He led his team in 3 games, came this close in a 4th game. Like he is the real deal. I mean, to be in that game when you were lit up like him and hit like him and absolutely destroyed for a half, and to be right there, all goes to Joe Burrow. And I've seen some people take shots at him, which is so fucking ridiculous, whether they're real or trolling. Anybody taking a dig at Joe Burrow and his toughness and saying he choked or melted under pressure, that's the most absurd take I've ever heard. Joe Burrow is tough as nails.
Right. But
I mean, that's insane. It's insane to take a shot at Joe Burrow. I mean, I think the thing when you're talking about Burrow and his chances of getting back and how they build around him, like, you certainly love to hear Gronk saying something like that, right? Now, the problem is it's a lot of nice talk about the quarterback you'd like to play with. Then where do you want to play with him? He's like, I'd love to play with Joe Burrow in Miami. But are guys going to Cincinnati to play with Joe Burrow? And honestly, that's kind of the thing is, Burrow's window is probably really, I mean, if we look at what's happened with other quarterbacks who get paid, his window is probably the next couple of years. And then the other side of the first huge contract he gets, where he's still a legit quarterback, but he can't command all that money. And then you get these guys who want to play with him because Joe Burrow has this legacy. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler, and he deserves a chance to win, because that's what Tom Brady had. The guys who want to sign up and play for nothing. Gronk will come and get the minimum deal. Odell goes to the Rams on nothing because he wants to win there. Like, I don't think you're going to get, and I don't think the strategy is, you're not going to try to go out and get superstar free agents, wide receivers to pair with Joe Burrow. You don't need them. You got Jamar Chase. You got T. Higgins. You got these guys. Like, Jamar Chase is your guy forever. Just put complementary pieces around that. Don't spend there. Spend on your line. Spend on your defense. Let Joe Burrow turn, like every great quarterback has. Let him turn guys like T. Higgins, who is obviously a great player, but like, let him make him special in the second receiver role. And then, down the line, you can get guys, the Gronks and the stuff like that, those type of players who want to, some guy who wallowed away wherever that wants to go try to win one in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. So I think that's kind of the crazy thing when you ask a question. It's like, what are his chances? Well, 45%, because I feel like it's 2 years now and 2 years in 8 years. You know what I mean?
Well, that makes me feel good about my bet about Burrow winning a title with Taylor, because I share your sentiments of like, you got to win now. It's going to be tough, I think, versus 6, 7, 8 years down the line. And, I've obviously been critical of Taylor, and I think he made some very questionable bad calls when it mattered in that game. And I know most Bengals fans are talking about it. The final sequence, you got to go through it. They have 2nd and 1 on their last drive. They take a deep shot downfield. Burrow just throws it out of bounds. Now you're to 3rd and 1. You run the ball, not with Mixon, with Pirine. And then on 4th down, we all know what happened. But Burrow was amazing just to get out of that sack on 4th down. So like, dude, I'll just say this. I think that's a questionable call. Taylor going for it on 4th down to start the game. The Rams end up scoring a touchdown with Odell on that drive. To me, like, those are just colossal errors in too big of a moment. Yeah. That's just my take. Not that Sean Taylor or Sean McVay is exempt, but I just think that series and then that play, to me, that's like, okay, Zach Taylor, you're taking some lumps.
The 1st down running every possession, I was like, pass sometimes, switch it up. When they called when Mixon threw the touchdown pass,
that was a great call.
That was a great call, because that's something we haven't seen all year. We've seen them every single possession, 1st down, run the ball, 1st down, run. It was irritating.
What do you think, Brandon, watching the game, being live?
I mean, I listen, I think that there's absolutely, questionable coaching decisions. I like to judge a questionable coaching decision based on, like, we see it from everybody at this point. I mean, there was a good run there where it seemed like Belichick couldn't make a bad call for a while, but even him, he's got certainly some on either end of that, like, kind of sort of epic genius run. These guys sort of outsmart themselves from time to time, but then also when they work, they seem brilliant. It's like, I am happy to criticize a coach for a terrible call. It seemed like Brandon Staley, it's just like, it was a nonstop, like it was a spin a wheel every game. And what terrible call is he going to make? Zach Taylor definitely didn't, coach a perfect game, but like you said about McVay, it's like, did he make far more questionable calls than McVay? Like, I think when you're judging, like, can our coach be the guy? It's a lot like quarterbacks and turnovers. It's like, as long as he's not putting us in a position where we can't win the game, where these like Brandon Staley, took the Chargers away from wins at this point during the year. Certainly Zach Taylor didn't have his best coaching performance, but it's like, it wasn't stand out bad. Like, oh man, they need to fire this coach if they want to figure it out. To me, it wasn't a Mike McCarthy. It wasn't a where you're like, bro, you're winning like fully in spite of yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it was fully bad. I just think, especially to start the game, I just think, why are you, both teams don't do anything offensively on their first drive. Second drive, the Bengals, drive a little, and it's like, why are you risking that?
That was my biggest one of the game, because I was just like, you're at midfield, and like this is a slow, like Super Bowls always start slow. You can go into like, the shorter the game, the more it favors the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
Like I just felt like if that game stays, if you could tell Zach Taylor, like there's 5 different options here, but the only door that you can see behind is it's nothing at halftime. If I was him, I'd be like, I'll absolutely fucking take that.
Sure.
Give me the Joe Burrow magic. Give me the Cinderella story. Turn this game in half. Like, I almost feel like if you're a Bengals fan, or if you're Joe Burrow, or if you're whoever, you're like, give me one possession to win the game. Like, that's like all I care about is like that we get that opportunity. And they did. But to me, it was like, that was such a questionable call, because I'm like, you don't need to do this right now.
Well, the field position, I feel not many people were talking about. The field position was so huge. The Bengals started inside their 25. I don't have the number in front of me so many times, whereas the Rams had great field position. Field position played a huge part in that game.
Right.
Randy. By the way, we're going to hang up with Randy, and he's not going to move. He's just going to sit in that chair, watch the sun go down for 4 straight days and nights, like fucking
with a cold Miller Lite.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Randy, give us some parting words. You guys. Yeah.
I got a question, because I'm going to go in on my couch. It's pretty hot out here. And I want to watch you guys. I want to hear your guys' opinion on this. The Rams championship parade would be the lowest number of fans for a championship parade in NFL history. I want to hear your guys' opinion on that. And I'm going to get out of here. Tell your girlfriends I said happy Valentine's Day.
Will do. Hey, I agree. I don't know if you're leaning towards a terrible turnout, but I also know LA is very fair weather. And they also look for a reason not to work. So I think with those being said, it'll be all right. But I was saying, dude, it wasn't about the money for me. Funny that like you bring up girlfriends. I was saying to mine last night watching this game, I was like, it's not about me losing $1,000. It's about, dude, imagine what I have to go through emotionally with a whole city. Like, I went to Kroger yesterday before the games. I had to get something. Obviously every single person in Bengals gear, I was like, if they win the Super Bowl, I literally, dude, I had people on my neighbor was still yesterday, 2 hours before the game. He's like, dude, if they win, you got to be back on board, right? I was like, bro, I've already told you. I was like, He's like, well, Mike Brown ruined 30 years. Why are you going to keep letting him ruin? I was like, that's the point. Like, I just can't do it. But the Bengals would have represented, the city of Cincinnati would have been awesome. For a parade. The Rams, way less than like a Lakers or Dodgers.
Yeah. I don't know. So, all right, fellas, I'm going to jump off here and get off Twitter.
Randy Ruther.
Me and Eli Apple are staying away from Twitter today.
Yeah. Well, Randy, it's been a pleasure. And Joe,
it's been a fun season.
Yeah, we really enjoy you bringing everything, Justin, with your Twitter account on Reddit and on the show. So we're really happy for that, and hopefully we can do this again next season.
Oh, we'll see you guys next season.
All right, take care, bud.
Hey, Justin, if you need a basketball one to start, maybe a Jeffrey Jordan or something like that since we're LeBron fans, maybe the ghost of Michael's dad or something like that.
I like it.
Let's spitball here in the next couple of days. We'll get you a basketball account going. Maybe
let's talk the three of us, because we all stay at Casa de Randy next Super Bowl right down the street.
Oh, I like it.
I love it.
We'll go see the Bengals play again.
Love it.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
Take care.
See you, buddy. Randy.
Now he just alluded to it, and we haven't discussed him yet.
Who's that? Apple. Oh man,
dude,
Eli.
It doesn't matter where he goes. At some point, he just plays terribly, And Cooper Kupp had his number yesterday.
Yeah. And, it's the Eli Apple attitude, the Twitter, that he runs, like his Twitter persona, the whole thing. It's funny because Eli Apple is essentially, for a cornerback, everything that Odell, like people want to say Odell is, but like in reality, like you see everything that happened the whole week. I saw stories. Former Giants teammates are rooting for Odell. Former Browns teammates who he apparently tore their locker room apart. They're all rooting for Odell. They want to see Odell do it. Eli Apple Twitter last night. I mean, did you see the slideshow of other current NFL players just roasting him?
Yeah.
Like, he is the guy that everybody pretends Odell is. He is hated by his teammates, by his fucking, like, any fan base that roots for him, by other guys in the league. And yeah, it's like, what are we doing here? And I have Eli Apple started with the Giants, and I said that in the box last night. I was drinking a little bit, and I said, everybody, there was a lot of good times flowing in the box. A lot of people said some things and did some things that they maybe shouldn't have done on a Super Bowl Sunday. But at one point I said that. I turned to somebody, I would say fairly responsible for Eli Apple. And I said, well, you win some, you lose some. Game started. It looks like we were getting, sort of the history of Odell is turning on us. I go, but Eli Apple's getting absolutely fucking roasted today and toasted out there. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, but we still fucking drafted him. And he's like, Joe, it's not all a comedy show. Just you don't. The mic doesn't have to be on the whole time. You go have another fucking Miller Lite and sit quietly for a little bit.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, when he bid on that play action, I mean, obviously you're at the game, but they showed it, they did a replay in slow-mo. He totally was looking at the run, and it wasn't even close. And then obviously we know what happened, and they score a touchdown. But I mean, look, man, he didn't play when he had to, or play up to, par when he had to. And to me, that was, one of the mini storylines, but ultimately being a huge storyline of the overall theme for a game. It was just one hell of a game. So many emotions back and forth, especially, with injuries, with questionable calls. And at the end of the day, man, I can't reiterate enough. It's hard to win a fucking Super Bowl.
They do that thing. And listen, this is my first Super Bowl. And being there, it's so much more than a football game, dude. I've been in an NFC Championship game. The pressure, the stakes, all the things involved, like I said, every aspect outside of the game, you can tell how much it's different than a football game. So when it's like, oh, it's hard to win a Super Bowl, that's why I go back to the thing. I know, you look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow gets the ball, an opportunity to drive down. Minute and 35 seconds left. He gets the opportunity to drive down and win the game. It is no failure on Joe Burrow's part that he doesn't get it done. Because with all that going on, it's tough to do it. But that's why, again, I know my guy. I spent a lot of time defending my guy here. My guy went out and did that twice. Twice got the ball and was like, go down and win it. And those are those drives. Stafford did it. Montana's done it. Brady's done it so many times. Eli, like the guys who have done it, like those drives, when you talk about game-winning drives in the Super Bowl, it's like it should count for 25 game-winning drives.
Well, I will say I did think of Eli last night, and obviously I've had my moments on this show being critical of him, and I think I've definitely changed my tune, definitely from a few years ago. The more I watch football, the more I get older, and I would say more educated, for lack of a better term. I couldn't agree with you more. I thought of that. I was like, dude, it is not easy. You get the ball, even that. I thought for sure, I'll be honest, I thought for sure the Bengals were tying that game. I was like, They're going to tie it. The first pass, they get a big gain, and then you just see how hard it is, and you're like, well, the Rams defense is still dialed in, and it makes you think of those previous quarterbacks and everybody you mentioned, and I did start thinking of that. And I'm like, it is so fucking hard, and that's why.
That's why I like this story. That's why I like the Joe Montana pointing out fucking John Candy at the 2-minute warning and shit like that. That shit is psycho stud stuff. That shit is crazy. Dude, the level of things that are going on around there for you to get in there and lock in, and for the John Taylor slant and for the Manningham on the sideline and all that stuff, that is next level shit. Like, Joe Burrow is like nothing to hang his head about, but like, you watch it and you go, man, if he goes down here and he gets a field goal, like, that is nuts on the table shit.
Yeah, because in my head, I don't know if you thought this, if that game goes into overtime, the Bengals win. I just didn't see an offense. The Rams were just so depleted, and I don't know if so you think about it. You probably didn't know this. So Tyler Higbee is out. I'm sure you knew that, but Tyler Higbee's out. He was the number 2 receiver for them this year as far as yards or receptions, right?
Yeah. So
he's out. Odell gets hurt. He's out. The guy, I forget his name, number 86, but
Higbee's the backup tight end.
Higbee's backup to tight end, backup. Higbee's backup goes out. So at this point, I'm like, wait, they're on their
Van Jefferson's wife leaves on a stretcher to give birth. Mid game.
At this point, you're like, okay, you're
Cooper
down.
Kupp versus everybody, dog. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are like, dude, it's me and you, and that's it. Me and you and Eli Apple not knowing how to backpedal. That's it. It's us for the win.
And that's literally what Collinsworth said on the broadcast. On the final drive, he goes, I know they know it's coming to him, and I know he's going to be double teamed, but they just have to feed Kupp the ball to make any chance of scoring. And they did. And Eli Apple should just delete his Twitter. All the crazy things he's been saying, especially recently. And he couldn't.
I love everybody just saying they're smoking the Apple pack now. Like, I'm just like, this dude is hated.
Absolutely hated. I got to ask you about the halftime show. What was that like being live?
So, first of all, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But I feel like it must have been way better on TV. I mean, I saw what was going on the screens. The screen, I don't think is like the NBC broadcast, they're obviously doing their own in-game thing, but I'm sure you got the gist of it. First of all, something I know is a California game, and it's basically a see-through roof. It was like almost too light in there. Like, I was like, oh, they're doing like, I'm watching a rap performance in the daytime.
Yeah.
So there was that was a little bit weird. And then I'm sure you guys saw it. Like, the set was essentially built to go like 2 different directions. So like when they were inside the set, they were facing one way. And when they were like up on the roof of it, they were facing the other way. And I was on the roof side. So I didn't have a look into like the whole set. And it just seemed stupid to me to even do. I mean, I'm sure it looked awesome on TV, but to me, to like essentially have to do one side of the stadium live performance and then the other side as a live performance, like, seemed dumb. But it was awesome. I mean, people were turned for it. Obviously, West Coast, so many West Coast rappers and, surprise guests, whatever. They gave us these like lanyards that blinked. So like the whole thing was in like color thing. It was awesome, but it was, I have a feeling it was better on TV.
I mean, in my memory, it was the best halftime show I've ever seen.
No,
but hold on. I'm going to say that because these are the guys I really grew up and loved. So these are like the rappers and guys that I've spent so much of my youth and adolescence listening to and knowing all the songs.
Yeah, I mean, from a star-studded factor, it was definitely like a hit factory, right? And whatever. But I would still say, off the top of my head, just like out and out, like the whole performance of everything, how quality it is from start to finish, what how close it is to like what you're watching. I'm going fifth all time on my list. I'm going in some order above. I'm going.
I know you're going to say you too.
Prince, Springsteen, U2, Tom Petty.
I don't remember those ones, to be honest, that well.
Any of them? Prince was, not that long ago, and obviously, I'm not the world's biggest Prince fan, but his performance was like bananas. I am a very big Springsteen fan, but I know there's also Springsteen stans out there that like take that shit to the next level. I thought his, in terms of just like delivering, like the U2 one that had so much, emotion with everything that was on 9/11, blah, 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 blah. All the, that whole era of sort of emotional, not emo rock, but like, emotional rock. And then Tom Petty, I just thought like crushed his performance. Those are my top five though. That's my top five.
For some reason, for some reason, I just remember all the other ones. I remember Madonna and like Black Eyed Peas and like Lady Gaga and Katy Perry. I don't know why I'm not remembering those ones.
Yeah. But it seems like you're remembering the ones that were almost like pop culture or Twitter sphere.
Bruno Mars.
Like,
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm remembering. I'm remembering like the last 7 or 8 years. Although that with Prince was in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it. I 50 Cent was a nice surprise. Fat 50 Cent. I was like,
listen, we're all, I'm old and fat. So
no, I know. No, I am too, dude. Trust me. I'm no, Adonis over here, but I had to laugh. I was like, where's Eminem? Did he eat Eminem? Where's Eminem? Like, is 50 Cent the fill-in? What's going on here? But no, I thought it was great. And again, I think
I love how triggered it made the fuck, nothing makes me happier than when conservatives are triggered by like seeing Mary J. Blige's thighs, like, and they're just passing out on the internet. How dare how dare my little children who have just arrived home from church, missed the first half because they were at church, have to see a black woman's thighs, like the horror, just conservatives puking on themselves because the world's listening to rap. Like,
so you know what I did?
Go fuck yourselves. You get these guys jacking off to the idea of Zach Brown band doing a halftime show.
I wasn't on Twitter really at all during the game.
I wasn't either, but I saw it after the fact.
Sure. And it made my experience. I felt better, but yeah, I mean, overall the game, the halftime show, it was great. I do wonder, do you think, the Bengals obviously lost, but they make Super Bowl champion shirts for both. Do you think, I assume the NFL is going to use ShipStation to send all the lost Bengals merchandise? I assume that's how they're going to ship. Don't you think?
Yeah. We'll have to talk to our friends at ShipStation and see if they can divert one t-shirt to Randy Ruther's house in Arizona on its way to, Nigeria, wherever they usually get rid of these. Because yeah, there's a lot of world champions Bengals merch that ShipStation is going to have to send around the world.
Yeah, I mean, ShipStation is already trusted by over 100,000 e-commerce sellers. Guys, it'll keep track of orders for any sales channel, and they'll easily find the best shipping carrier with deeply discounted rates, which I'm sure Roger Goodell and the NFL is definitely going to use that. So save time by funneling all your orders into one simple interface. No matter what you're selling, you can manage every order, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or your own website from anywhere, even your phone. No more headaches from dealing with returns and return tracking. ShipStation makes it easy. Save money when you compare carrier options and choose the best shipping solution every time. Ship more and less with ShipStation. Use our offer code DIRTY, that's DIRTY, to get a 60-day free trial. That's 2 months free, no hassle, stress-free shipping. Just go to ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and type in DIRTY. ShipStation, make ship happen. Did we miss anything, Joe? I feel like we did a good job.
I did feel like we did a good job. Just shout out to all the dirt balls. We talked a lot of props, a lot of gambling yesterday. A lot of dirt balls hit me up and wanted some tips. I gave them the tips that the stuff I really love. A lot of Odell props in there. So we didn't hit our our receptions. We didn't hit our yards, but a couple of the big hitters, Andy, just to get for some people that jumped on board, for some people who wanted to know my bets. We got the Rams 1-6. I was talking about, how long was I talking about this? Rams 1-6. By the way, you'll love this one, dude. Yesterday or Saturday afternoon, I'm looking at first reception of the game, just first reception. And I'm like, well, Cooper Kupp's like -120, like there's all these guys. And I just see Cam Akers at 11-1. And I'm like, check down. Second down, check down out of the backfield. I get Cam Akers at 11-1, first reception of the game. We got Cam Akers. We got Odell first TD. Odell first TD in the win. We got Akers under 64.5 yards. We got, oh man, I was so close to the Odell first TD, Higgins second TD, parlay box. So close.
You did pretty well.
I did pretty well. Made some money. Stanga, our boy original Hall of Famer Stanga, sent me some money. I sent it back to him today with more than double his investment. I said, no chill sports capital ROI. That was what the Venmo note I sent back to him. He invested. He was like, I don't know about this game or care about this game, but I like some of your bets. How about I send you some money? You send me back whatever we win. Boom. Got it. We were so close to an Aaron Donald MVP.
Dude,
oh, man.
I mean, look, yeah, I was going to say it was really close. He did a number yesterday on Burrow, but Dan, that you got to give it to Kupp with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. We got Danny and I got a next episode tip like midway through the first half. It was like, get to your local sports book now. It first song for sure. Next episode, we have a hot tip. He's going down in the first. We tried to get Mikey on the phone and get like $1,000 bet, and they had taken it off the line already. So just missed out on that. But all in all, I hope any dirtballs who came to me with investment advice put the money on the Odell first TD, on the Rams win, on the Bengals cover, on some of the Akers props. I hope you guys all made money. No chill sports capital, open for business.
Well, and I'm happy.
Get your investments in before NBA playoffs start, and we go to the zigzag theory, which is always a profitable time of year for us.
And I'm happy that I didn't make any bets. I mean, truth be told, it came down to the final minute. I called my brother. I was driving back in the route that would be to, pop over to a casino. And I said, dude, you want me to do this? Do we hedge on the Bengals a little or on Burrow? And I said, no, man. I said, look, I've already dug my grave. I said, I've talked so much shit and the Bengals have proven me wrong this year. And Joe Burrow's proven me wrong. I said, we got to just let it ride. And I mean, it's just too funny. I can't say it enough. I literally texted him middle of the game and said, dude, when Odell went down, I go, this is not good. Like right when he went down, the Rams were still winning. I said, this is not good for us.
Oh man, look at how far Andy Ruther's come. Now Andy Ruther's worried about his team's chances of winning without Odell.
But it was true. He was that important to that team at that point. And again, when you have that many injuries and you just cannot run the ball, he was that important.
But today, Andy Ruther will be celebrating Super Bowl Monday by taking his boat off of the side of the earth.
I knew you'd go back in tweets. I knew you'd do it.
I didn't even go back for that one looking for that. I went back looking for some other Odell stuff, and then I found you calling me a flat earther so mad, and I was like talking about fucking the Browns 14-15 record with Odell. Like,
Hey,
Jesus Christ.
I needed that touchdown. I needed those 50 yards. I'm happy he played well because I don't want to be out money. And that's a bet I need to amend. I mean, I don't know what kind of stupid bet my brother and I made, but it's a stupid bet at this point. It's like, can we should have a timeline. And I think that's fair to the guy we bet, who I know was at the game. It's like, give me 5. I'm willing to give 4 more.
What the bets Burrow and Brown championship together, or $1,000?
Yeah, Burrow and Taylor.
Oh, well, so you have Burrow leaving, Taylor leaving. I mean,
and then it's over.
I feel like there's a max kind of 10-year time limit on that anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Marvin Lewis led the Bengals to the first playoff in 15 years, and they kept him for 15 years.
Yeah.
Taylor just
the NFL's changed it. Doug Peterson's been fired within 5 years of winning a fucking championship. Now he's not the Bengals, but
no one. I can't repeat that enough. No one is the Bengals. I mean, you were at the game when they showed that picture, which I put up on Dirty Sports. When they showed that picture, and I got to Google this. I don't know why. Every time he's at a game, he's by himself. Does anybody know why Mike Brown, he is not around his family? His family's all in the organization. He's always in the suite by himself. It doesn't matter, regular season, postseason. Why is he always by himself? It's depressing, to be honest. It's sad. Does this guy not have any friends?
Well, you know who was in my box sitting basically by himself the whole time, just quietly watching the game? And I only talked to him one time, and that was famous Greenwich High School quarterback turned Super Bowl champion, turned Hall of Famer, turned ESPN guy, Mr. Steve Young, was in our box.
Ooh.
And he was sitting by himself on a stool at the back of kind of like the seated section, just really like locked into the game the whole time. And there was when it was close to the fourth quarter, I think the Bengals were still up. But it was in the fourth quarter, and I didn't talk to him the whole time. I didn't harass him about going to high school in Greenwich. I didn't harass him about, the Niners or anything like that. I just finally went up to him and I said, so who wins this game? And he's like, oh, dude, he's like, with Odell out, I just don't know if they can score. And I was just like, I went over to Danny. I was like, dude, we got Steve Young saying that he's not sure they can do it without Odell. I was like, I feel so justified. I feel so like, I feel like the whole world came around to Planet Prano finally. But obviously they got it done. But he was like, I don't know. He goes, I don't know who wins this game. He's like, I'd have a lot more faith if they had Odell. I was like, wow.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think everybody thought that. And to me, again, that elevates both Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford on another level to do that without him in the game, and a guy who potentially could have had a really good game. I mean, he was on his way. And the Bengals fans, you gotta have some empathy, because this is literally 1989 all over again. I mean, it's not exactly similar. It's not Montana driving 93 yards and scoring with like 30 seconds left, but it's that same gut-wrenching, just long drive that will rip your heart out. And I have some friends who went, and I saw some text of just like, I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss for words. And I think, and I said this to Justin before the show, and he agreed with me. I said, I'd much, from an emotional, this is just an emotional standpoint, it'd be easier for me to handle a 20-point loss going to the Super Bowl to watch my team than this, because at least at that loss at halftime, you're like, okay, we had a good run. It was fun. But that game has got to be just, the back and forth has got to just take its toll on your, emotions.
And I loved it. Obviously I was rooting for the Rams, but they came out after that Odell touchdown. And then when he has that second big game, I was like, is this going to be how it is? And even though I was rooting for them, I'm like, I'm glad we got a good game. What a football game. I know it's the dumbest thing to say because people don't usually get the opportunity. But if you have an opportunity to go to a Super Bowl, you should do it. It's pretty fucking insane. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced. And it's really cool to do it at SoFi.
That's great. Yeah, it looked like they did a great job. And obviously that's why Kroenke built that stadium. And it's a state-of-the-art stadium, and it's awesome. And I mean, it's great for the city of LA, to be honest. I mean, it's crazy. In the last 18 months, they have a Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams title in the last 18 months. So
yeah,
see how the city of LA has been winning some titles. Joe, here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to do any more stuff today. We're going to keep it relatively short, if that's cool. Although it's still a nice episode, just a Super Bowl recap. We'll go over any of the other stuff next episode. Hotline is 310-359-8365.
I kind of just want to reiterate that, guys. The hotline's open because, I mean, especially me being there yesterday, like the sights and sounds, so much happening. I even told Andy was watching. I'm watching the game's actually on here in the background right now, like live, like as it ran, and you get so much more, obviously, watching the game on TV than you get there. I've never experienced anything going to the Super Bowl, but I will watch this game again right now and probably again another time before we do our next episode. If there's anything that we didn't cover, or if there's anything maybe I noticed, like we'll definitely do more Super Bowl talk. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or critiques, call our hotline and give them to us. I'd love to hear what else you guys have to say about this Super Bowl. What didn't we talk about, or what did we talk about? Not enough.
Or pop into the Dirty Sports Reddit. That's been nice, and it's been good seeing different opinions on there. And I agree. If there's stuff I missed, I took pretty good notes last night and had it all down on the rundown, which I've mostly deleted like as we've gone through it. But it was a fun game all around. And even as a guy who was kind of like in the middle, my emotions were back and forth simply because I didn't want to lose that money. But at the end of the day, Stafford, like I said, he made the plays when he had to, and the Rams come up big, and the Bengals have nothing to be ashamed of, though. I mean, they played it. No one expected them there. And obviously I'm that person, number one. No one expected them there. Everyone picked them for the most part to be last in that division.
I did. That's for sure.
They should be proud of themselves, and they had a great year. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. You can follow Joe on social at
Joe Prano on everything except for Twitter, where I'm at Fix Your Life. Go to joeprano.com for shows. I'll be in Chicago, Rosemont, Illinois, and Milwaukee this weekend. So if you are in any of those places, come see me and Eddie Ift. It's going to be a fun time. First time being back in Chicago in a while since the Dirty Sports Dirtball meetup in Chicago. Next week, San Luis Obispo Comedy Festival for, intern Trevor and anybody else that's in the Central Coast of California. And going on into March, shows joeprano.com, April shows in Colorado. And like I said, send me messages, send me whatever, anything you want to know about. We can't wait to tell you. And Andy, I know that it's going to be a little more calm in Cincinnati. Everybody's sort of, huddled up with their Bengals lost, taking their gear or putting it away for a couple of weeks. So the roads will be open for you to drive around and enjoy. I just say, ride the brake a little bit. We don't want you driving off the edge of this flat earth.
I thought you were going with a joke about me driving into the Ohio River. Okay. All right. I'll make sure of that. Touche, Mr. Prano. Touche. All right, guys. It's been fun. Thanks for the support. Football is over, but like Joe said, we'll still keep talking about it. If we missed anything, please let us know. You guys have a great week. Happy Valentine's Day. And as always, stay dirty.